Hi, my name is Wendy, and I'm going to share with you a wonderful story that was originally told in Hebrew. The story is A Pair of Old Shoes, written by Ronit Chacham, but it's a story that was told to her by an Ethiopian immigrant to Israel named Yeshitu Amsalu. Now, sometimes we have something old and we just want to get rid of it. Other times we have something old, but it's so meaningful and special to us that we keep it because it holds our memories. This story talks to just that. So sit right back and listen in style to a story. Hope it makes you smile. There was a mother and she had two children, a son Yuval and a daughter, Noah. Every night she would tell the children stories about the old country, and she'd get very teary and start to cry. "Why are you crying?" said her son, Yuval. "You're in your new country." Now Noah, the little sister, had an old doll, a beautiful old doll that her grandma Agurnish had made for her. "Why do you have your old doll?" said Yuval. "Your uncle gave you something new. At night while you're sleeping, I'm going to throw it away." And then Mom said, "I have a story to tell you." Back in the old country, there was a man, and his name was Mr. Manasseh. And Mr. Manasseh had an old pair of shoes. And he would wear the shoes on his feet, on his hands, and he'd tell funny stories to all the children in the neighborhood. Now, one day, Mr. Manasseh was told that he was going to leave his country. He was going to leave his house and his farm with chickens, with sheep, with cows, and come to a new land. Mr. Manasseh was very sad, but also happy. Mr. Manasseh walked in those old shoes all the way to the new land. And when he got to the new land, he said, "Oh, I don't need these shoes anymore. I am going to buy a new pair of shoes." And Mr. Manasseh threw the shoes away. Well, some kids found those shoes and said, "I bet the dogs were playing with Mr. Manasseh's shoes." And so they returned the shoes. When Mr. Manasseh opened the door, he saw his old shoes. "I don't want these old shoes." So Mr. Manasseh threw them away. A woman found the shoes and said, "Probably there were kids playing with Mr. Manasseh's shoes. I remember those shoes." And so she returned them. When Mr. Manasseh opened the door, he saw his old pair of shoes. "I don't want these shoes," he said. And so he put them on top of his roof. "Surely I won't see them again." Well, one day there was a hole in the roof, and the man who was fixing the roof said, "Probably the cats were playing with Mr. Manasseh's shoes," and he returned them. When Mr. Manasseh opened the door, he found his pair of shoes, his old pair of shoes. "God help me, I don't want these shoes." So Mr. Manasseh went to the market far away and got rid of the shoes. At the market, a man saw them and said, "Wow, these are beautiful shoes." He tried on the shoes, and a bunch of people looked and said, "Those are Mr. Manasseh's shoes. We must return them." So the old man gave them back, and the people came to Mr. Manasseh with the shoes. "Oh no, these shoes!" But all the people said, "We want you to have those shoes. You used to tell funny stories with the shoes." And so Mr. Manasseh made a compromise. This is what he said. "During the day, I will wear my new shoes. But in the afternoon and the evening, When I tell my stories, I will wear my old pair of shoes. So, Mr. Manasseh kept the shoes. The children were just about asleep, but Yuval said to Mom, Mr. Manasseh didn't throw them away anymore? No, said Mom, he kept his shoes. And Noah held her doll close and said, I will never throw you away. The end.